Hello and welcome back to another Tonto video. In today's one we'll get the TMNT The Archie Adventures number 69, and this one feels a bit weird just because, you know, like with the last few issues and also story arcs, you've got either something really very dark and mature that isn't necessarily like kid friendly, or we got Ninja just going off and complaining to Raph about how much he doesn't love him and all that kind of stuff. But yet this issue, it was actually surprisingly normal. We didn't have any of those kind of stuff, which, yeah, I don't know what to really talk about now in this video. I feel like I'm gonna have to actually talk about new stuff, which, I don't know how to feel about that now. So yeah, okay, so I guess, there's only like a few bits to really talk about, with this issue, because there isn't really too much to really talk about, because not much really happens. It's more of a setup issue for the final, issue in the story arc, and it's then like giving the characters like taking from place A to place B, but yeah, we haven't gone to place B just yet. So yeah, okay, so I'll just talk about the Ninja stuff first because that's very short. I mean, she just wakes up and she goes outside and sees all the people burning the lady that got shot in the first part of the story arc. So yeah, I mean that's an interesting sight to wake up to seeing your people burning someone else and be like, yeah, I understand your pain, all that kind of stuff. I don't know why she doesn't feel like any sort of like threats or anything like that. I mean, especially if you just wake up and see that kind of stuff and you're not like, maybe these might not be the right people, because you know I feel like there should be like some sort of questions that Ninja should be asking, but yet she just goes along with it as if it's like nothing's happening or anything like that. I mean, she doesn't even go on to talk about like her wounds or anything like that, or anything like that really. It just feels like a lot of stuff in this issue, especially like Ninja stuff. It just felt like they were just like skipping it and just saving it for the next issue, which is understandable, but at the same time I want to read it now, so I'm a bit annoyed by that, but here we are. So yeah, we also got stuff with April, Leo, Don, and Mikey, but even with that, there's I mean, to be honest, there's like even less to talk about there than there is with Ninjara. I mean, they basically just wake up, see Raph's gone, and then they find some trail marks from Raph where he left some sign marks, and they follow his footprints, and yeah, that's pretty much it for those characters' story arc. I mean, I don't know what to really say about this kind of stuff. What they did in here was it was okay, I guess. There wasn't anything really there, but like I said at the beginning, this stuff feels more like it's just setting up like their story so that they can go into the final issue of the story arc and then just do stuff, or at the very least just be there, because as of right now they're just there, I guess, might be the best way to describe what's happening with them. So yeah, and then we got Raph stuff, which takes up the majority of this issue, and I wish I could be a bit more excited about this, because I like Raphael, he's my favourite turtle, and that kind of stuff, and well, this version of Turtles hasn't really given me any good reason to be like, oh yeah, this is my favourite version, but seeing Raph having some more attention is always great, but even then, it doesn't really feel like there's all too much really there. And I'll just say that at least with like the last like 2 or 3 issues where we were doing stuff with Raph and Ninja, despite what's actually happened, at least I was actually doing stuff there. But here it just feels more like, oh, Raph's on a mission to try and get Ninja, just to try and prove some points and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't really feel like he's like properly taking in everything that's properly happening. And I feel like this like could have been an interesting point to be like, you know, like maybe Raph like learns some self-discovery about everything and all that kind of stuff. But it just feels very annoying because not much really happens. I mean, one of the big things is we do get to see Raph fights a bear. I feel like this would have been cool if it was like a polar bear or something like that, but unfortunately not. It's just a white bear, and there isn't really too much of a fight really here. I mean, we do get to see the bear, he throws Raph off the cliff and onto a ledge, and somehow he doesn't break any bones or anything like that. He's just perfectly normal, which yeah, very unrealistic. I got a feeling that, especially from that height, especially like landing onto like a solid rock, and you don't break anything or at least get a concussion or anything like that, it's just so unrealistic, but at the same time it's Turtles, so, you know, what can you really expect? And then after that, we do get to see him, he does wake up, and he's actually rescued by the person that actually shot Ninja from the last issue, which I did find to be quite interesting. However, the only downside to this is the fact that with this like the conversation is that they don't really bring up anything about, oh yeah, you know, like you shot Ninja or anything like that. It's more like, oh, the man's just keep going on about these spirits and that kind of stuff, which is not a bad thing, because I feel like it's always like a lot of interesting things to really talk about and do with like religion, spirits and stuff like that. But here it doesn't really feel like to do all too much. It's more like, oh, are you a spirit? Are you a spirit turtle? I mean, we've seen other spirits like the walrus, but yeah, it's annoying because I wish I could be a bit more excited about this stuff, because I do quite enjoy this kind of stuff in other issues, but yet here it just felt so like it was just kind of there really. And we do get to see Raph at the end of his journey. He comes across two holes in the caves and has to decide which one's which. And yeah, I mean, we'll wait and see for next issue if he actually finds the right one. From what I can remember, he does. And then for the final bit of the issue, we do get to see him. He's walking through the cave, and that's when he realizes that he's being followed, but not by like humans or anything like that, or mutants or anything like that. It's actually wolves. And that's where we do leave this issue, and I don't necessarily think that this is like a bad like way to end the issue, because it does put Raph in some kind of danger, but at the same time you just know that he's just gonna get out and he's gonna, you know, he's gonna get to a village and that kind of stuff. Everything's gonna be fine just because it's the last issue, and you know Raph is one of the main characters. You can't kill him off, so yeah, it's not a bad way to end the issue, but I wish it was a bit more like less obvious of how it's gonna resolve itself and that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I'd say that overall with this issue, it's not a bad issue, and I'll definitely say that it's quite nice to see that they're not going into more dark and more mature tone than what they have been doing in like for the last few issues, which is quite nice. Seeing them going more back to the more kiddie roots kind of thing, which I feel like works really well for Turtles, especially like this version. And I would have to say that also with other stuff like Ninja's attitude, it felt a bit weird not seeing her being angry towards Raph, but it was at the same time also quite nice to see it developing and actually showing her that she's going back to her more old ways, which is quite nice. It's just disappointing that it's taken her this long to realise all this kind of stuff without any sort of like showing it whatsoever. But yeah, well, it is what it is. But yeah, this issue is not a bad issue. I just wish there was a lot more that happened in this one, just because it feels like it's just a setup issue for the final story, which is not bad. It's just wish there was more to talk about, but there's hardly anything to really talk about here. But I wish I could, but well, it is what it is. But we'll wait and see for the next issue if it's actually good or not, if it actually holds up to, or actually delivers on what they've been trying to set up and that kind of stuff. But again, we'll wait and see about that. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you think about this issue. Do you like it? Do you not? And yeah, that's game for today, guys. If some, please share, subscribe, and all that stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.